How's it going, y'all? Welcome back for the podcast, the first one of 2025. As always, I'm Andrew or Elixir.
This year, the part of co-host will be played by Tom or the TommyNT. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks very much to the studio for inviting me on.
We haven't done one of these since last year, guys. Am I right?
Yeah.
What's your name, by the way?
That's my name. We haven't done one since last year.
Oh my god.
Hello, it's me.
We've snuck Adam, aka Red Scar TCG, here. You guys might know him.
That's me. Hello.
Yeah, we're back. We're back to having guests on the podcast. It's cool. It's 2025. We said we would make a bunch of changes. None of them have been made. But we have this cool Discord now. Isn't that cool? I don't think we had one of those last time we were live.
Oh, that might actually be true. That might actually have happened right after Christmas. That's crazy.
Being a Discord mod has made my life drastically worse.
Yeah, I found that the large majority of the viewing audience goes on Discord and posts like phishing links all the time, which is like, I didn't think that was the read I was going to get from our live audience, but apparently you guys are crazy about internet like data scams. It makes me and Marcio real tired folks.
But
I got excited when you talked about phishing. I thought you meant like real phishing.
No, see, that's how they get you. You tell a Digimon player that you're doing phishing on them, and they're like, "Oh, I love KBeeDS," and then in actuality, you're stealing their credit card information.
Mirage Galgamon would like to know your location.
To be fair, KBeeDS and stealing credit card information, that's a combination I know is about to happen to a lot of my friends in the next 2 months. 2.5 looking good, boys.
I'm so glad to be in my like anti-mogul phase for Digimon. I am buying single, like, well, okay. I was once again going 2.5, not a set that I need, and then my goat Phantomon. I'm just like, okay, maybe I have found my deck.
Those cards look so good though.
I don't care if they're good. I just need them in my possession.
Okay, so this is like something that I'm really interested in regards to like Adam, because like I feel like because you're like a head, not like a judge, but like you're like in charge of like tournaments and stuff, right? So like, do you like, what's your main outlet to like enjoy like Digimon? Is it just like you go to locals and you play there, or like do you like make time for like going to like the odd event? Or
mostly it's going to locals and chatting with people online. I will go to the very, very occasional event here and there. Because I travel so much for my job, I usually don't want to travel a lot in my spare time. But honestly, my main outlet for Digimon is actually running Digimon events and seeing everyone else get to play it and have fun. Because there's a certain level of enjoyment that comes from seeing like the community grow and develop and come to events, and then you start to recognize each other, and then you start to become friends, and you talk outside of events like exactly what we're doing right now. That's like mostly is the community where I get a lot of my fun, and that and going absolutely crazy for Zafagamon alts with my bank account.
Ooh, it's a little too real in here, actually.
Okay, so fun fact, Terrence, I think it was like on Thursday, we did a little bit of gambling, and out of like 4 packs, he pulled like a regular like medieval Galamon, and I wanted to kill him. But then me, him, and another friend of ours, Griffin, we were like, oh, what if we just like the 3 of us win like 3 ways on a box, right? Because like you get 3 hits, it'll work out for everybody. $30, you know, you get a few packs. And I pulled an Altar Medieval Galamon. Well, nice. Terry pulled it, then he gave it to me because, you know, it's my card now. We give him all the yellow cards, I get all the green cards. So you can have one of yours back.
You're going to say, can I get one of mine back now?
Yeah, but you have 4 alts, so, you know.
Yeah, and the hunt isn't over until I get my SPs.
I'm not going for the SPs. I did drop £150 on the alts on day 1, though, to get them.
Ooh, yeah, that's a hit I was lucky enough to avoid.
I feel like that's a great investment. That card's going to go in like a ton of stuff.
Yeah, it's the new deck. It's going up.
It's fantastic. I'm just grateful. Well, in certain senses, I'm grateful for all the events and stuff, because like Adam said, like part of what's made Digimon so lovely over the years has been that like you go to things, you see the same folks, you get to know people. Like it's a communal event. Like my collection binder is almost like a passport full of stamps, where it's like, oh, you know, like I remember going to Liverpool, I remember going to Games Expo and stuff like that. Like there's all sorts of stuff where you can like, oh, I remember when so-and-so went on this run or whatever.
I remember when I went to Salford.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Exactly.
Oh,
Keeps that
give
thing
me
on
it. Organizer tax, give me it.
He pulled the Mewtwo one right out from under you guys as well. It was terrible.
Yeah, like the ones in Fanboys collection are crazy. Like we've got we have like
Johnny get?
That's like Nuzleaf or something.
No,
that's so funny.
Seb's one is Articuno, yours is Mewtwo, and then Johnny has Nuzleaf. But Johnny also, in an alternate reality where he didn't get 9th and 9th, would own 3.
He did get 9th and 9th in a row.
Yeah, he got 9th on tiebreakers because he didn't. It was one of those like that. We watched him play it out, like time was called, and then he played out the rest of his combo turn and does win that turn. It's like that. Oh, if I win that, and then I smoke my next round, I definitely. And he bubbles 9th, and then Glasgow, he plays he was 16th, so he had to play the Levia Lilith player that was on an absolute heater, and just like, I mean, that matchup into like plants is terrible.
Into plants,
anyway.
it's unplayable.
So like he was guaranteed 9th there anyway. But it's just really funny that like in alternate reality, Mr. Low is just there with his 3 Blitz on, and he's like, oh, I can lend them out, I guess.
But that's interesting that like the way that like Adam describes like how he like experiences Digimon, because like I'm kind of like 50-50 on between like playing and commentating. Usually like I save playing for like the in-person events, and then like I like the online stuff, mostly because like I don't dislike webcam, but if I can commentate in an online event, I just find it more enjoyable. So
I can't believe you would lie to our guest like that. I don't dislike webcam. What a liar.
I don't dislike webcam
he's just
events.
been spending all this time getting his webcam stuff reorganized. So he got a new mic and everything.
My thing with like playing webcam is that like it's a lot of effort that I have like I like going to a tournament because I like traveling to a tournament. I like hanging out with people at the tournament. For a webcam, it feels like a less, it feels like a bit, not soulless, but it's like I'm waking up early to be in front of my computer for X amount of time. And I don't get to like, I mean, you still get to talk to people that are also playing, but I don't know. I like that like physical, like, you know.
Yeah, the vibe is.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. In-person events are always so much better. The reason that I don't play any onlines, I judge as many of them or organize them as I can, is that it feels too much like just playing Five Nights at Freddy's, where if you're not watching your screen at all tight, and you're gonna get like something's gonna happen, you have to report it to the judges, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, I see behind the scenes all the time, and it's pretty rough, and it kind of put me off playing webcam events. But you can never remove the in-person aspect, because at the end of the day, TCGs are all about just socializing. It's just infinitely better.
I do think I was gonna say, I do think one of the big problems as well is in Europe, because of those pesky GDPR rules, like the fact that we can't stream our runs. Like, it's one of the things that I'm always mad about NA. Like, I get to see Volt stream his Ultimate Cup runs, and like, as someone that makes content, you can at the very least, you know, chill with your chat if you're not like going into a voice call and frankly just bitching about how your run is going to the homies. Like, at the very least, you can talk to chat, but because we're not allowed to stream any of our runs, it's so frustrating knowing that like, if someone just forgets to go back into the VC, like you might, I have played an online event and then found out that Johnny was playing in it at round 5. And I'd messaged the group chat before. I was like, hey, you know, keep each other in it. Let's all hop into the VC after each round if you finish early. And then it's like, yeah, Johnny, by the way, he's on table 3. I'm like, Johnny's playing?
I thought he was at work. Yeah, there's a lot of that. I think the other thing that comes with like the disparity between like the physical and online events is, like you said, like there is a component of like getting to know people that you see regularly that you don't like, you know, the names of some of the folks that you've seen that when you play with them online. Like if I've played with somebody on like an event online, then like I think I haven't played many webcam events since like BT10. Like I kind of made like a real hard swap to be like, oh my god, like I went to DC1 in London in 2023 because we're all old and made of dust now. Yeah. I went to that and I was like, oh my god, this is the future. Get me off of Discord. And I stopped playing in as many after that one. But like there was like a tipping point where I was like, oh, like I recognize, I've known you from having a playmat. I now know what your face looks like. It's a whole thing that I think is like a really like rewarding process.
Utrecht was really funny for that. There was like getting to meet people, just like you know who I am, but I don't think you know who I am. Like, who are you? It's like, he turns around, he's got DigiFreak written on his back. I'm like, yo, this is what you look like.
Yeah.
You're just a set of hands to me.
Yeah, I love those. When I met the good folks and the individual web admin for Digital Gate Open, I was like, oh my god, I'm on there every day. I'm so sorry about slowing the website down. Yeah, it's cool to meet the like community scene and stuff. But that's, community scene is kind of the main reason, like Adam said, like, it's a social experience above all else, which is why it's fun when the ball keeps on trucking, New year, new goals, gonna see people again. I'm excited because, like, they talk about like the regionals events all year. It's like, these are the weekends away I'm gonna take from work and stuff. Like it becomes like a big, well, for Adam, these are the weekends I'm gonna have to book off because I'm working. But for the rest of us schmucks, it's like, well, hey, actually, I get some fun time with the homies and stuff, which is good.
It is really fun.
That's why it's not a job for me, because I get paid to be there, time back off. And I love doing it, and I get to see everyone, so it's great. It's like a paid holiday.
I love that for you, man. That rules. Although I have seen the dark side. Adam takes it on the chin, chat, but like I have seen this man fighting God in Amsterdam airport, trying to clutch it up, trying to keep it together. So
that was probably one of the lowest moments of my life at that point when you guys found me on that bench. Oh, yeah. that was bad. For context, I had just worked 72 hours on about 3 hours of sleep, and I was not functioning well. I basically just looked, I was about to keel over and die. I got home and I think I slept for 22 hours straight, and then I was fine, totally fine. I did just punch my microphone as well. Enjoy that noise, chat.
He's that frustrated about the memory of it. Imagine it on the day.
Yeah, just get me home.
Yeah, this is what I always reiterate to people when they're like, oh, the game's dying, nobody cares. It's like, no, that's not true. Like,
that
people who do, you've seen an all-nighter. Imagine an all-weeker where somebody becomes like half of who they used to be.
Yeah.
So, in regards to like, once again, in regards to like the game dying, I think like,
so we can't do this every week.
Yeah, we can. No, we can every week.
I was doing it ironically. Like, the game has made 5 long years now. It's not going anywhere. Things are good.
We're really on year 5.
The one
catch you on Twitter. I'll be beefing.
Yeah. No. Well, Japan, yes, because it came out in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is that like, in regards to like the game dying, because like I think like Utrecht we had like really good attendance. It was something like
7 something, right?
7.
You're about 760-ish.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But that's because like it was like an open like event, right? You didn't have to fight for invite. And part of me likes that, but also part of me is like excited for the fact that like now European finals are going to be like an invite event, and with that comes a certain lowered tiered event that your locals get to go, maybe store regionals. Anybody excited for store regionals?
Your locals aren't getting it.
Me, because I can actually play in them, because when I organize all the events in the UK, I can't play in them. I'm not allowed, so I can play store championships. I am a reigning store championship winner. I've got multiple of them on my wall. I'm excited, me.
That's like a feeling that I deeply miss. I think like I won like 2 or 3 like back to back, and then I just stopped like caring for them as much. But like now that it actually means something, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm really excited for store regionals.
Is my store championship PSA 10 or Dinamon that's getting blurred out by the camera? There you go.
Wait. That's one you like individually that's took from the locals as well?
That's what I won. I've won quite a lot of store championships. I love gaming.
That rules, man. I mean, people don't do it if they don't love it. That's the other thing. Like I when we talked about this at Christmas of like the wish list we were talking about for like what we'd like to see in 2025 , one of the things that came up.
We spent the whole
we talked about it all year. I just want to be I don't want to pretend we compiled. Yeah, it was not 2 hours of wish list. We've been wish listing since February. But the big one for us was always like, I just want to have like the bandwidth to do what we did. Like some of us tackled Glasgow as a regional in a healthier way than others. A couple of us got up at 5 a.m. and took the first train out of Manchester. That was not correct. That was a bad idea.
That was really fun.
When you text me like when round 1's about to start in 15 minutes, and Andrew texts me going, "Yeah, we're just on the way," and I was like, "You're what?"
Yeah, that was not correct. But I'm keen on the idea that like that's something that you can do again. Like you and your friends can go the next town over and play in their store championships and stuff. Like that as like a feeling of like, you know, it's Saturday. Where are we going next week, guys? Like,
Are we going to Sheffield? Are we going to, I don't know, like Huddersfield? Are we going to Liverpool or whatever?
Yeah.
I am really hoping
on that.
I am really hoping that they learned from last year, because I was gonna say like the US had a lot of problems with store regionals. Like they did not allocate them a lot, so I'm really hoping they took that feedback on board and are just shooting them out.
It definitely puts the onus onto stores to host consistent championship events. I think from reading the website, they're meant to be every 2 months.
Yeah,
so,
I'll go ahead and pop that in the chat for us, by the way.
Every 2 months, like that's incredible.
Yeah, that's way
like
better.
they want the by all means, and this isn't insider information. Nothing on this podcast will be insider information.
This is, by the way,
I am under NDA. I don't fancy breaking it, but like from the roadmap of what they shared, they want it to be a healthy finals. So there's going to be loads and loads of store championships, which is great because you only really need to win one. So you could go to like a place that doesn't have a lot of like good players, like Manchester or something, and just tackle it. But if you go to Glasgow, you're gonna have a bad time. Like, you know,
I'm booking time off.
I'm 8 on the chart, losing to Cost now. If I go to Glasgow, he's gonna absolutely bend me over backwards.
So is it a case of only the winner gets the invitation, or is it top 4 gets the invitation?
It doesn't say, but it's safe to assume it'll probably only be the winner, maybe top 2, but probably the winner because of the consistency of them.
Well, it depends. How big do they want Utrecht to be, though? They did say that it is a pass down thing. So if you've already popped, you can't just like collect them like the Infinity Stones.
Yeah. It's the second from the bottom thing, Andrew. If you want to just scroll straight down.
We can assume it'll be roughly the same number as North American Finals, which was around 320, 30-ish. I want to say.
There it is. Yeah,
so they're meant to be all the time.
Spot. So they all, in case you guys can't make out the graphic because you're watching it, or if you're listening on Apple Podcast and Spotify, thank you very much. We'd love to remind everybody that you can check out Misplay for Game on Apple Podcast and Spotify, even though you can get video on those now, so don't worry about that.
No, not on Apple Podcast.
Not Apple Podcast.
That software sucks.
The ghost of Steve Jobs says, let people see my face. If you can't make it out from your audio-only medium, in 2025, the Digimon card game will be hosting, starting from 2025's full unification point that they've been like
the new tax year.
It starts right here, April. This is where the calendar begins. From that point onwards, they're running April through June as the first batch of store tournaments, and then another one July through September for Volume 2. Volume 3 is October through December, and then the last batch is January through March 2026. So you get chunks of them at a time where stores are going to run. Presumably, if I was a betting man, I'd assume they'll go back to the way they did in 2023, where it was like one set of promos are your trophies, and the next set of promos are your trophies, and blah blah blah, and it keeps going. Or not even promos, excuse me, they were alts. But yeah, the system is now slotted in very consistently. So all the people crying for, please God, let me play competitive Digimon again. Great news. It's all over the place.
Yeah, and the Evolution Cups being back, pretty good. I'm kind of hoping that like Evo Cups or like Ultimate Cups will still count towards like registration, because that's one of the things that like they've changed how Ultimate Cups are going to be working this year. Which is really
that's
interesting.
Crazy. We'll get into that.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious to see whether it's just going to be regional stuff. It'd be nice, obviously, to secure invite, because I think in NA for regular regionals, it's top 16 gets a Nats invite, and then your store regionals, it's top 1 or 2 got a regional invite last year. It's just that there were so few store regionals that it was kind of crashed. So I'm really hoping that this year is just going to get them everywhere, and even if it's like obviously not 800-person event like it was for this past EU Nats, at the very least we're going to get to still see a pretty healthy turnout, and there's fewer like AFK slots. But also like the spectator experience, making it a holiday. I got hooked on Utrecht. I think I really want to go to EU Nats every year. So it would be nice if there's still like a spectator experience and things you can do if you're not competing in the main bracket. Or I'll be yapping.
Scavenger hunt. That was the best part.
They should lock the scavenger hunt behind Bandai IDs. I don't know why the spectators had to get Bandai IDs and then they didn't lock them behind them. What were they thinking?
It's a small indie company, Andrew.
I mean,
Well, you never know. They might host like last chance qualifier things as well.
That's a very valid point.
They did that for One Piece Orlando finals, where on the Friday they hosted like last chance, get your invites, and I think was it top 32 they gave it out to.
Yeah.
Top 64. Okay. I don't know. They got a decent amount of players in. It was like a 1K or 2K event, and they went, yeah, here's a bunch of invites. So they might very well do that for EU as well.
I would love that.
I like that a lot, because my fear is always a low attendance for what's supposed to, well, I think it's okay for the most premierest event of the year to have like a smaller attendance, right? Like, because it is, you're supposed to like fight to be there. But at the same time, I don't mind that it was like open invitation. So even if it's somebody that doesn't have the most time to like grind out the circuit, they can at least like try really hard at like the European finals, for example, and like have a really good run. But I think it will work out like quite well, especially because they've tried this before and they know that it's a format that works. I'm excited, essentially.
There's a lot of good stuff to come. We'll probably go through a little bit more of this specific page that we kind of Andrew scrolled past a couple things some of you guys in chat might be interested in if you haven't already been able to catch the live stream from last week. And like you'll get a little bit of us just geeking out about stuff. But we've got Adam on for something very specific, because all the talks about competitive formats and very
break the NDA,
cuts.
break the NDA.
No, that's an NDA. This is all me, baby.
No, yeah, I know. I'm saying we brought you on for you to break the NDA. Give us the good stuff.
Adam, they're never banning a Gallantmon card, and I'm going to Worlds, right? That's the dream.
If they ever give me a job at Bandai, I am banning every single Gallantmon card that is available. Except for Medieval Gallantmon, because that's in my deck. But other than that,
God. You know the ban list, right? You know the upcoming balance. You already have.
Oh, I wish.
How many dogs are in the kennel, Alan?
I wish I would be putting all of my Mirages onto card market as we speak.
No
Insider trading.
For no reason. No, I've got no idea. I wish I did.
If were we to have knowledge of whether or not some of those cards were going to go, that would be one thing. It would be nice. But if you're sick of them today and don't want to play with BT11 Mirage Galgamon, I know this fun indie format that's been taken off. That I think a lot of people are pretty keen on, the idea that like there's a lot of cool cards. I heard somebody on a YouTube video say that there are a lot of interesting level 6 Digimon that don't get a lot of time to shine anymore. And if only I knew someone who could get me a foot in the door and maybe teach me to play an alternate format for Digimon. Adam, do you know anybody who would do that?
No, not really. Like there is One Piece out there, I guess, for people like casual games.
Good then.
But
everyone's
like,
over.
No. Wait. Yes. We have there's a new format that me and some of my community in Glasgow have been working on called Eden format. It is a basically commons and uncommons only format. You might have heard it called artisan format from Magic. It exists across pretty much every sort of card game. It's called Pauper as well for Magic if you play commons only. But basically, I've taken this format. I'm not claiming ownership of it. Don't worry. Magic's been out almost as long as I've been alive. I don't think I invented it when I was 1. That would have been quite interesting if I had, to be honest, though. But basically, it's commons and uncommons. Oh, yeah. It's commons and uncommons only, with a couple of exceptions to help with consistency. And you can play it right now. There are people playing it in our Discord, the Eden Community Discord. There are people playing it on webcam based on DCGO as well, and there are people that are already talking about even hosting events for it as well. It's got a healthy, well thought out ban list that I may or may not have missed 1 or 2 cards off of, like Scatter Mode, which I'll definitely be reviewing. But it's going to have an updated ban list with every single set release, so you can keep playing it, and it's going to always have community feedback in mind. So if you guys think that there's an insane card that needs to be banned, we can absolutely put that on the list. We can even look at unbanning certain things or limiting things as well. You can find all of the information over on my YouTube channel, Red Scar TCG, as well as links for the rules in the Discord as well. I'm more curious, as apart from the advertising spiel that I've just went on, to hear like your thoughts about it, to be fair.
My first thought is it's so nice to have a bloody consummate professional come on and pitch something on this bloody podcast, because it's unbelievable. You should see the three of us attempt to try and I think I went to an event last week. No, I'll rip the Band-Aid off straight up. I have lost the last 72 hours of my free time. Like every little bit of time I had out of my 9 to 5 and prepping for tonight, I have spent on various deck builders being like, I can't believe this is a common. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's great. I wholeheartedly recommend it. I, on the podcast, have been an advocate for EX formats. So a community-run EX format is my next logical, even better leap. We all, if you guys have remembered our big love letter to Alestrals and how much we like indie game development and stuff here on Misplay, you'll know that we care exceptionally more if it's a community-run endeavor. We're big on grassroots here. So for it to be someone like yourself, Adam, who is knowledgeable on something like Limitless, like an actual information collecting platform of, hey, we can use this to get a healthy view of what cards are good, how the game actually gets played. Like every single thing on that announcement video was like, that's a big tick mark. That's a big tick mark. Love this.
Well, it's no different than pitching a proposal to a game company to run events for them, like OPE pitch proposals to Bandai to get events. I'm trying to pitch this format to you, so I don't want to come on and drunkenly mumble my words and all that sort of thing. Like, you need information, you need how to play it, you need where to play it, and you need who to play it with. And that was sort of my main thing, because like I said earlier on, community is a really big thing for me. I really like being part of a lot of different TCG communities, but Digimon's one of my most favorite franchises. I grew up with it. We all grew up with it. It's definitely better than Pokemon. Pokemon, please don't sue the podcast. But you need all of that information, so I put it all in one sheet, got it already, and it's had a lot of really interesting feedback and lots of people liking it so far. A lot of people, quite a few people going, well, I'll just play Magic, and I was like, okay, we'll just play Magic then. I'm not stopping you from doing that. But if you want to try this format out, give it a go. And I've been testing it a bit with Ginger James. I'm assuming friend of the podcast since you've had him on before.
We hate James.
We hate James.
If he beats me at Lethal Living again, I'll never speak to him in person.
Well, I can't say that because he is about 10 feet away from me currently through my wall. And he will come in and beat me. He does it all the time. But I've been playing him. He was trying out some sort of red scramble fortitude bird sort of deck that didn't really do too well, but we're all learning, so he's cooking up something new as well, I believe. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. God, he's coming. Oh God, he's coming.
It was always bound to happen.
You need to get
He's blurred.
The blur known as James.
Witness protection right there. That was even better.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, the as someone that's our locals, to prevent burnout every so often after every regional and stuff, we tend to do a low power week. So it's really fun to see a side format that kind of rewarded us already, kind of finding ways to resolve hateful piles of 50 that use cards you've never seen before.
I think the thing
and it's also a community event.
Buster Dive and Green Birds of Fortitude. Don't you want to play Buster Dive to be able to swing again? Outstanding card.
The thing with the silly week that we usually do is that people tend to evaluate silly decks differently. So it creates sort of an imbalance between what you think something is silly and low power, somebody else might think is legit. So the games never feel like everybody's on the same power level. And I think this is a great alternative to people that want to play Digimon with a different power level, because as you said, you literally covered what I was going to say rather, is that people it's oh, why would I play this when I can play that instead? In terms of Magic or whatever. But sometimes it's people love the game so much. But for example, in my house, okay, there's 4 people that play Digimon, and playing casual Digimon without it being lower powered is such a pain, because it's okay, well, we can play this deck and this deck, but then this deck has a bad matchup into that deck. And so, because of how the game currently is, it doesn't feel great as, a casual, alternative. This feels oh, we can play, a completely different format, lower power level, where, I get to flex my deck building muscle, and, we get to have, a more, back and forth, game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it doesn't put you off actually trying out Digimon that you like as well. So like I really like the Digimon / Angemon. Ever since using it as my backup level 6 and Shine Greymon, I really like this. Angel is probably my favorite one outside of like the Patamon, Angemon, Magna Angemon sort of line. Card sucks. It's on Digivolve -8K, and then there's a new / Angemon with Reboot and Barrier, and it unsuspends.
Yeah, it gave you everything Shakomon didn't
and you're
have.
like, oh yeah, this is cool. Petty Fanglongmon's immune to everything. Like, I can't play it against a meta deck. You're never going to be able to touch a meta deck with cards like that. Things like the Bagra Army stuff. I've not touched any Bagra Army cards, but you can play the Tactimon and the Lilithmon, I think it is.
Yeah.
Like, you can play those sort of decks without getting worried that you're about to get absolutely domed by Magnamon X Antibody. That is immune to everything because it's not in the format. Like, you can try out all of these cool new cards, or cool old cards rather, and play them on a power level that everyone else is also playing. Also, it puts your pre-release stamps to use. All those bulk pre-release stamp cards that you get, especially
So
like
real.
the ones that are full foil, that you're like, that's kind of like an SR, but it's not actually going anywhere. Well, now you can use them, and you've got shiny cards for your common uncommon deck as
The
well.
amount of people that ran me
Pre-release.
down for pre-release Pharomon when that card came out, like, Andrew, please take them. Like, I'm sorry, this is a one-off at best.
Yeah,
I got my pre-release Mame Tyramon in the mail today.
Oh yeah,
I'm
let's go.
exceptionally excited to do bad things with this.
Let's
that-
go.
That's the thing, right? It feels like sometimes because Bandai has to design sets that are X amount of cards wide, right? Like let's say like 100 card sets. It means that like a lot of the time it's just we're wasting cardboard on covering cards that will never see the light of like tournament play.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a good alternative to play them, or even if there was sort of like the EX events, like locals did have like the holiday event or whatever, but even that it was just like a hard limitation on like, okay, commons and uncommons, but there wasn't any more like balancing act towards the decks, and you can play this format, but it doesn't give the decks like the base consistency that they need to get their game plan going. And having something like this, it's like, well, okay, I know that at the very least I can build around the thing and get to it. Whether the thing is good or bad or silly or, you know, like potentially like Eden format sleeper broken, we will get there eventually. But at least I have the tools to build around it, which is like what I'm really excited for.
It's got a fairly consistent ban list, I would say. Obviously, there's probably cards that I think should be on there because I got domed by them a bit too much, or cards that aren't on there because we didn't consider them. Obviously, this is where the community comes into it. But things like Bancho Stingmon from BT3, right? I've limited that card to 1 because what do? You sit in raising, your opponent swings. They probably don't have reboot because it's commons, uncommons, and you go, cool. 4 checks at 17k, you can't do anything about this. That's not healthy. So that's why cards like that got limited. Things like Fire Rocket, you can play an entirely uncommon armor deck if you want to. And
it was the first thing I tried to build.
Yeah, you can
real armor rush
checks, and it's not really interactable with, because what I've noticed is that people go, oh yeah, we should actually use bombs in our deck. Like, they're actually really important to help stabilize. But again, if you use too many of them, you're going to brick, which is why I haven't limited the new Violet and Boots, because you can ditch an option in your hand to gain 1, draw 1, which is good for consistency, and she's a good memory setter as well. Like, I've thought out so much of this.
I was curious about stuff like Raiju Ludamon made sense, but I was really curious about the Owen Dreadnought. Like, is that just bullying?
Oh, I'll give you one guess.
The Owen Dreadnought, I am tempted to put it at a 1 of, but it would never be a 4 of, because you can just go, yep, I've set up those 4, and low to the ground strategies are really important in the Eden format. There's a lot of rush and rookie rush based decks. Maybe not rookie rush, but you're playing out small things. For you just to be able to go swing, tap 4 tamers, nuke your board, it's a bit busted. If the card was a rare, I would have left it as is, but it's because it's an uncommon, I went, this is a bit too strong. I probably will put it back to 1 with some more testing, but I wanted to keep it out of the format for the
early days.
the early days, because what a lot of people tend to do is they gravitate towards a deck that they've already played and see what they can sub in. So they'll while Owen Dreadnought's a brand new card, red aggro and control decks are not. So people will be playing like the Garuda Birds. That's why Garudamon X is banned as well.
The Sora's banned.
Yeah, and the Sora's banned because you can absolutely just loop that deck without going into your top end and eventually win it. So it's things like that. So it's been thought out to a point where I really want like people to actually test with it. The reason I banned the Dex Darugamons or I limited them to 1 is that the protection effect is great. You can do it once while it's on the field. It needs to fully die before you can do it again, which is a bit of sacrifice for the player that is playing it. And it doesn't feel like, BM, immortality, I can't die spam, that sort of thing.
I was really curious about the mother. Is like, would you ever see a world where we end up in like a banned pair where you can't like Mother Shoto, but you can still like if you want to try, because Mother D Reaper is a really it's an uncommon like
it's
cheap deck to get into.
Card in the pair. We can talk about it.
Yeah. The reason that I banned Mother completely is because the Reaper, the D Reaper deck is entirely uncommon and common. You can, and as a meta deck, you can win a game without ever seeing your Reaper. And the more when you have Mother D Reaper out on the field, your guys get bigger and bigger and bigger. You can't, and eventually they become uninteractable with. And especially because a lot of these low power cards delete Digimons with levels or suspend Digimons with levels. They don't suspend just anything sometimes. The newer stuff does, but the older stuff doesn't. It just becomes a completely uninteractable, unfun sort of board state. So if you want to play a D Reaper deck, you can absolutely do that, but you're not going to have Mother to back you up, unfortunately. A bit like me when I was younger, picking fights.
Dude, I love the Eosmon ban as well. Like seeing Jamie in chat, like right as you went for like you were talking about like the Rookie Rush style, like when we were when he was trying to set up like a pauper format, we were kind of just like trying to figure out like what we could do. And 50 Eosmon absolutely is still the best deck in the format. Like,
yep.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
like I looked for that immediately as like, is Eosmon? Yep. Limited to 4, where it should be.
I think
you can build a full Eosmon deck. There's an uncommon level 6. You can build a full deck with it, and just rely on like green level 3s for the low end, basically. So that's why that got hampered a little bit with.
I think it's also interesting that there's other cards that you've like very thoughtfully like banned because like there are certain gameplay styles that are checked by existing cards at low rarity, things like Crimson Blaze. I think like limiting Crimson Blaze is something that like, well, you are still allowed to play a deck that even a common and common has the ability to swarm, but you're not going to have to deal with another like incredibly powerful like uncommon like floodgate / board removal. So it does give people the outlet to play. You can play control, you can play like aggro, you can play combo. There's lots of things that you can do.
Yeah, it's the when I was thinking about it, it's the way that I put it in my introductory video is not all commons and uncommons were born equally, because there are cards in that slot that are just the only reason that they're uncommon is because they had to put that in the space somewhere. Rarity doesn't always define power level. The reason that I put all the early hybrid level 5s, they're all at 1.
Yeah,
and it's not because they're high. It's not because they are inherently broken cards. It's because you can use them to very, very quickly go into a level 6 card because you've got a reduced Digivolution cost. So if you play low-end hybrid, but you're Digivolving on top of your level 3s instead of Tamers, you can still level 4 hybrid, level 5 reduced cost for 1, level 6 all in the same turn. And it's too fast for decks that need a little bit longer to set up. That's why cards that cheat things out were also limited. Not everything, not like you can cheat stuff out, that's not a problem, but things like High Commander Mon got limited to 1 because that
makes a lot of sense.
Rightfully so. That card's fantastic.
There's a full D-Police Commandramon Brigade deck that just don't care. They're just like, yeah, I'm now untouchable.
Yeah, my goal is to get Anubis banned.
Done.
Like,
I'll write it in right now.
You shouldn't have done it on the podcast.
Nah,
Andrew. We could have made a video.
I'm just saying.
BT4.
I'm just gonna plug the Anubis why it's banned short again and just be like why it's banned in Eden format. But yeah, I was looking my old core, like I updated Anubis when we got all the new dog stuff, but the one I actually took to the BT13 regional, and I was, you know, fighting Belphamon, fighting Bloom, fighting full power like hunters, and like, you know, the one where Harry went on a run with Alphamon. Yeah, most of those cards that I was using, like the Gizmon package, that's all common, uncommon. That joint's mad funny.
They are.
If I was you, I would stop telling what you're putting in your deck. Don't self-stitch.
Hey, I put a deck profile out already, and right now it's a 2-card difference. So,
have you done a deck profile for Eden already?
Not yet, but I'm planning on just dusting the cards back off and pretending that. Yeah, no, I actually need to put like a scramble in a training because I hate consistency cards. Boo. So I'm very happy to see that they're like at max 4 of, which is I think was a really, really cool change to like not be in just like one 2-turn memory like choking like slot, but still not just you know, every video I have that is Marcio, it's all right, hand shuffle, rookie training. Without fail.
They're the best cards in the game.
The earliest versions of Eden was everything. Everything was banned. It was just commons, uncommons, and I was like, "Yeah, this sucks." I'm just playing BT4 again. I was there in the dark days. I was there before mulligans. I was there before any form of consistency boosts. I was there when the best search I had was feckin' TK getting me 1 card out of security. That's like I hated that. Going back to it, I was like, "Oh, this is great. This is nostalgic. Oh, this is really, really cool." But when you think back to it, like being choked to 1 memory is awful.
Yeah.
And I was green. Like, I'm not having it unless you play green, which it was great. But I didn't play early green. I'm not.
Psychos did. Let's not pretend otherwise.
I'm not the average Ceresmon enjoyer. I'm sorry.
The good old. No,
so I was like, I want some consistency. But I don't want to go, well, it's not really uncommon common then, is it? So you get 4 of any combination of rare tamer, any booster, any scramble, but it's a maximum of 4. I then tested it at 6 and it was too much. I then brought it down, and then I even banned some rare tamers off of it because it was still a bit too much. Because I forgot Marcus Damon was a card, which is weird considering Shine Greymon is my pet deck.
Yeah.
But we ran the locals and Eden locals in Glasgow, and the guy just played Shine Greymon without a top end, and he had 4 Marcus rares, and I was like, right, cool, awesome, I'm dead.
Made a mistake.
Yeah, so that card swiftly got hit.
Oh, go ahead, Marcio.
I was gonna say, there's probably some sense in like pride of being the guy that like got something banned because it's like, ooh, I beat the creator of the game because of a nice oversight. I'm going to win the local and then never be able to play this again. But that one local, it's my local.
Yeah, when I was designing a card game, that was a frequent experience of just like I get pinged with a board state. I'm like, how does this interaction work? I'm like, unfortunately, I think it works the way that you have got it set up. Enjoy your 40 damage in a 50 life game. Because of one interaction I didn't account for. One of my friends sat across the table and just made like effective like 1/1 monsters swinging for like 30 after a couple of turns of setup because he managed to loop something. I'm like, should have thought about that. But yeah, it's really exciting. Like one of our friends, Calum, the Marta FGC, he basically returns from the mountains to see most of his deck has been hit, and then he tries to get what hasn't been hit on the next list. He was really pushing Lilith to just be like, I need these cards banned so I can quit again.
Yeah, he's on a personal hunt to get Protoform on a ban list. I do think it's cool. When I first read the PDF and it had come out, because this was when I was leaving locals on Wednesday night and I was coming back to check everything out. There are always a couple like telltale signs that something is like a real labor of love when like all of the when you read something and you go, oh my god, the weeks that must have produced this stipulation must have been crazy. Because I read the first time I read it, and it was the line was memory boosts with a rare or promo rarity are banned. Or sorry, they can be your exception, excuse me. And I was like, oh my god, that excludes the original memory boosts. There must have been somebody who was like, the original like yellow memory boost, like searching for is too good. Which I loved because I was like, can you imagine like getting to that point when you're designing something with your friends that it's like, I mean, you've done it, but like
you can use the original memory boosts. That's not a problem. it's a little bit of an error on the actual rule set. The cards themselves are SRs, but they are promo numbered cards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it
So
was getting at.
Cool.
They're included in the promo, so you can absolutely run them. But there is a new draft of the document coming out with people going, "Hey, that doesn't sound right." That will confirm all of that. But you can absolutely play the old memory.
Okay, cool. I was like, regardless, I think my point still stands. Where there's some component to this where you're like, oh my god, like the stipulation of like the first person who discovered that Mechanorimon BT5 just chump blocked everything the entire game was like, yeah, we actually do have to do something.
We should stop acknowledging that card's existence. I would, Bagra's been brought up, and I was like, thank God Crimson Blaze is at 1 in this format, because that's what Tactimon exists to do. He exists to make Crimson Blaze cost 3 less. And nothing else.
You'll see that a lot of the cards that are hit early on, like Holy Wave and Magnadramon, is because I just didn't want someone going, yeah, I'm playing security control.
Yeah. There's always that one person.
Yo, nice community format, bro. What if I killed it?
I was like, that's not what I'm intending with the spirit of the game here. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not the arbiter of fun. If you have fun playing security control, you're wrong. But that's how you enjoy playing it. But I'm just trying to make it a little bit harder for you because, yeah, no, I don't really want you recovering 3 security in 1 turn. If you want to like properly do a security control format, you're going to need to work for it and find those cards that work. Which brings us back to like the community aspect of finding what works and building a deck around it, as opposed to going on to Digimon Meta and going, that one finals, I guess I'll play that this week.
Yep.
If there's enough interest in it, I might set up a website for it in the future and be like, here's winning deck lists, here's tournaments. I'd really love it if players in the community could reach out to their stores and be like, hey, can we run this? It'd just be like a locals, but
it's already in the works.
Yeah, it's going on Limitless at Fanboy 3.
I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want to be invited to it for me to politely decline it and say that I can't because I've got an event that weekend. I want to know all about the events that go on.
Yeah, it'd be cool to get it on Limitless, and like I'm sure Digital Gate Open. He's not really started covering like alt formats, but
I asked about Highlander, and he said he'd think about it.
We've been looking at some alt formats. I'm 38 minutes into a 50-minute video that is just like, thank God Digimon only experimented with an official alternate format 1 time, and
for 2
killed
months.
and it killed the deck that I was talking about. So I just got to breeze past the format and not acknowledge it. The day that I have to start going, here's what this card did in the meta. And did you know it was a format all-star in Eden? I'm like, you've added 30 minutes to my video, and I will get on a train to Glasgow, and I'll be very upset.
I want to run this by you guys to see what you think. Like I mentioned at the start of this show, wasted 70-something hours of my free time this week. I thought it might be fun to pick the guy's brain while he's here, because how often do you get to work on the iPhone with Steve Jobs in the room? I've got a dummy Eden deck that I tried to throw together. I went to really kind of like fans of Misplay for Game will remember flagrant, deceitful allegations that some of our tier lists feature meta-manipulative comments about certain cards.
Of course.
And I feel very strongly that these cards just haven't had a chance to stand on their own. So, Adam, I can really truly have to confess, sleep-deprived and caffeine-addled brain attempted to create an Ornismon Mamercusmon deck for the live entertainment of our audience. Would you be willing to kind of walk us through some hot fix suggestions as somebody who's been under the hood with Eden, and maybe you can give me 2 cents? See what you think?
I can certainly try, absolutely.
All right, Adam, I will let you know. Andrew, the link to this image I've just posted is in our live chat. Adam, I'll let you know again, sleep deprived and caffeinated. That's what I want you to think about.
Okay, so let's have a look at this just now then. So we've got the Salomon package with some recovery, more recovery, and your start of main phase 1. It would be actually helpful if I opened this card up fully. So
yeah, it's start of main, gain a memory on having purple Digimon in play.
Okay, we've got a strong rookie count of 12, which is what I've seen a lot of people been testing. I run 14 rookies normally, because it is just so much more vital to be able to just get things out onto the board for cheap. This looks fairly consistent, to be fair. For Revelation of Light, that is a card that I chose not to hit because of the limited ways to get it back into security, but it's definitely all there. Amber Memory Boost is absolutely fine as well. So those are your 4 exclusionary slots or exception slots. I need to come up with a catchy name for that other than your exceptions. So if you can think of one, let me know it and I'll see what I can do to add it. But no, like this is exactly what I'm talking about.
I feel we should call it Eden slots.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Eden slots, that'd be cool. Like this is what I'm talking about. Like when on earth are you going to play that Ornismon out in a standard format?
From my exceptionally brief playing on a simulator, you won't even be playing it out very consistently in your Eden game. But golly, it's a fun thing to try.
Yeah, like you've got 8 level 6s, which is I play usually around about 6, but this looks consistent. This looks put together. I would actually be really interested in getting to play against this, to be honest.
I'll tell you this
like
much.
When the Darkmon came out, it was like, oh yeah, if you got a Hippogriffmon, and they're like, what? Who's playing this? Nobody's playing this.
There's a vanilla Hippogriffmon from like BT5 that I was like almost tempted to use. But the fun thing about this, because it felt like there isn't a ton of rare, like uncommon and below Megazoo cards. And I was like, well, what's the funniest big dickhead I could play? And the big bird is like a 16k beater when you swing it. You just have to do an Olympic marathon to get it into play. And I was like, this is particularly fitting. So, but of course, Mamercusmon featured prominently in the bottom of meme tier from BT17's tier list. It was my purple card I was excited about for the format. Yes, that format did feature Ancient Greymon. I got that one wrong. But hey, you swing and you miss. I would love to see. So you mentioned Revelation was like one of those cards. How often do you and like the team working on Eden like do you have like an FBI's most wanted list of like known offenders that you suspect?
Oh, the suspect test?
Yeah. It's mostly a personal project with a lot of support from the community as well. So there's cards that I'm going to leave this as is for now because I don't have a personal vendetta against the card, but I also don't see it doing too much outside of its already existing effect. Like Revelation of Light and 3 Great Angels is an absolutely bonkers card, and it absolutely defines the deck because not only do you get free evil, you're trashing your security through your own effects, that sort of thing. Whereas in this sort of Eden deck, it's just a security bomb that will go into security to provide more effects, but it's not doing anything major outside of the sort of the intended effects because you're not really trashing your own security too much outside of some of the cards that you have barrier, I believe. Does the Hippogriffmon have barrier or blocker? I can't see that.
He's got blocker, inherit. Blocker is attacks, barrier, inherit.
Yeah,
so
barrier.
I was trying to make a big barrier Mamercusmon.
So it looks absolutely fine. Yeah, and you can look at this deck list and you can absolutely go, hey, this deck list would die in standard format, but in Eden format, it's a well put together thing. A lot of people seem to have the misconception that pauper formats in any card game are meant to be fill your deck with random nonsense, hope it sort of works, but that's not the point at all. It's just to give lower power cards the ability to shine. This is a well put together deck list with great ratios, and you've got your boosts and your limitations in mind, so I think it's going to work absolutely fine for what you want it to do as well. Because you can quite clearly see at a glance it's weak to bombs. If you bomb it or you use deletion based effects, that stack is gone, and because of the effort that you're putting into getting that card onto the field, losing it like that is going to sting. So it looks absolutely fine to me. There's other sort of cards, like I left mill decks alone because the top end of Gilmon only really works when you are going to finish the game. But then having a look at it and testing it a little bit more, the Black War Growlmon level 5 is actually what causes the deck's major recursion. So that looks like it's going to get limited to 1. But other than that, yeah, like it looks good to me. I'm really excited to see what sort of decks people put together. I'd actually love to take this deck off you as an image and like put it into the. Well, you can put it into our Discord as well.
Yeah, I'll drop it in there later.
Like come and test this.
I'll probably be dropping mine soon as well because
I'm so glad we record this because this is the only time anyone's ever told me my deck building looked solid.
No, we think the Gallant lists are kind of crazy every time. I also have my I brought my school project to class as well. It is
God, it really is your history's best of, isn't it? These are cards
Oh,
people
Jesus
know you
Christ.
for.
This was an existence of I can't believe it's not rare. Like so many of these cards are just like uncommon powerhouses. Like the Gizmon engine.
Siegremon's not a rare.
Yep, he's a BT11 card that had a foil because it was BT11. Yeah, so you know, cut the Anubis and something else, and it's like, yeah, the mat's just a rare. A lot of this is just kind of like uncommon purple goobers. I considered putting the Lady Devi in, but to be honest, the fewer Eden slots I can use, the better, because I mean, I used to play this deck with just 4 level 5s in a dream. I'd either find them or I'd die. And so yeah, I'm excited to kind of put this back together again. I've seen a couple of purple lists that have been kind of like floating around in Eden already, and like the different colors are starting to get representation. But as soon as I saw this, I basically control F for the cards I thought might have been hit and they weren't. I was like, cool. So this is the first draft of what I'm going to run for Eden. So I'm super excited to kind of like get back into the sort of I can't kill you turn 2, turn 3, but if we hit turn 5, I'm gonna kill you or die trying.
I cannot fathom that this is an actual deck I believe that you took to events minus like 3 cards.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is a 3 card difference from the deck that I got top 128 with at BT13.
That's disturbing.
Yep.
Anyway, if you take this to Eden and I hit you round 1, I'm going to take that as a sign from God to switch to Trains. Because Trains looks like it might treat me better.
Trains is so good. We love Trains.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Trains feel like a more like thoughtful like Machine Dramon. I'm all about it.
I had like my immediate predilection was also that there are basically a million Devas that are commons and uncommons that I was like, oh wow, you can do some stupid stuff for these. There's nowhere you go with it, but you do make a lot of level 5s.
You can absolutely make a low level diva loop based deck where you're like, yeah, got a level 5 out, one's in breeding, guess what's coming out and you're gonna play another one. Absolutely do it. You don't have your aces and you don't have Fanglong Mong. Thank God he's in the bin. You can absolutely do it. Like I want to see people make these weird and wacky decks and test it with people and just see what works. You might have a limited amount of level 6s, and I think there's 120 commons and uncommon level 6s. But as Andrew just proved, you only need the one sometimes. So go ahead and see what works for it. Really,
it is really funny seeing which cards are like that, especially if they've gotten alts because of like event packs or something like that, and they're going, oh, this card's an uncommon. Like the Beelzemon, it'd be really funny to see what like the Beelzemon players put together with some of their surprisingly low rarity Beelzemons. Alphamon is kind of like the inverse of Gallantmon, where like Gallantmon becomes playable as it trends closer to a secret rare, whereas the best Alphamons are like disturbingly like rares and uncommon. So like we've been joking like the next Alphamon that we get, whenever we get one, is gonna be like uncommon and the most deeply offensive card you've ever read in your life. Like the BT9 alphas are rare. Like you could int all 4 of your slots, your Eden slots on that Alphamon and just still flashbang someone.
Wait, so remind me again, what's it's either your consistency or your rare slots that can be your 6s.
It's Tamers with rarity or a rarity of rare or promo, memory boosts with a rarity of rare or promo, training options with a promo rarity, and scramble options with a promo rarity.
Yeah, so no super rare or secret rare Tamers, because those are ridiculously powerful. If you could run them, I don't think Rena would be able to do much, but the
would be really funny.
Yeah,
the other SR Tamers are it's just basically, hey guys, I know your consistency might suck a bit. Here's a little bit to help you out, and just make sure that you've got a little bit of search without putting something on the board that's going to get nuked and waste 2 turns for you, that sort of thing. It was made with kindness in mind, so if you abuse it, I will take it away from you.
Is BT3 all force a
deck that I've been sort of thinking up for Eden is Avenged Kidmon. It's going to play a heavy control based options it'll play Rainbow Tamers so I can use them at any point in time. And then I'm just going to hard slam Avenge Kidmon for a very low cost, put the options back into my deck and do it again and slowly start overwhelming with level 6s. Like
That's
I'm
so
gonna
funny.
Yeah, but and like you played it as a one-off in purple, so you didn't deck out, and now you want to build a 4-off deck around it. What's going on? And it also shoots something that's 8k DP or less, or a 3 Musketeer trait if you've got that on the field, which you probably won't because Deputymon's the only thing with it outside of level 6s. But yeah, I also tested the Metal Piranimon deck, which just spits out.
Yeah, I gave that a look.
Jumbo Gamemon.
King Waymon is kind of cool. The original, what one is it? This Dino Rexmon. That when Digivolving Blitz, like that's just good aggro.
That's what I got the Tyramon for. Very good stuff.
A fun deck that you should consider. I've not built this, and I don't know how it would work, but play the Justimon Excelarm, which is an uncommon, with the Raigenmons and the Fujinmons that can go under a Justimon, because they are also uncommons as well. So you can get into a Justimon and then start slotting in your pieces underneath it to make it even more powerful. I want to see something like that. I think someone can crack it.
I think all of Raidenmon is cool. Like the whole Raidenmon box.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Justice Kick. Justice Kick is an uncommon. So you could Rider Kick.
So promo slots, say for example, like promo level 6s, they count as.
No, you can't use any promo level 6s.
Okay. Because they have the power of a super rare.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's not so much that I wanted to ban every single promo Digimon card. It's just that their power level is wildly different, and I don't want the ban list to be 80,000 pages long.
So none of the promos are legal.
Yeah, no promos outside of your boosts, etc. are legal.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which is a shame because that means Rust Tyrannomon Ace still is never going to see play ever.
No, I'll do it. Trust me. That's my guy. Believe in me.
The day we start getting uncommon and common aces will be a very much interesting change to the format as well.
I was actually hurt finding out that Myotismon wasted an SR slot in the set that it came out. It's like, well, I mean, Purple has no good ones. I'm like, oh, maybe we'll finally be able to play Myotismon in Eden. It's like, why does he have SR written on him? This card is ass.
Yeah.
So like, I'm immediately like, there's like a couple. So I was looking at like green, right? And like,
wow,
green,
you? No way.
Yeah, me looking at green, that's crazy. So like my pool. So you said that according to the ban list, right? The Bancho Stigmon is like out of bounds as like a one of, or is it?
It's a one-off. You can play it as a one-off. I have no problem with it being, hey, gotcha. But like, the problem with it is that if you build a deck solely around Bancho Stingmon and your opponent goes, I swing, and you go, I have 2 Bancho Stingmon, extend hand, like it's not fun.
Okay. So what I'm seeing, I went to like the green like level 6s to see like what I had available to me, and there's like a couple like all-stars right here. I think that the BT14 Saber Leo that like unsuspends to suspend and then attacks, I think that is like the go-to guy.
Yep, that's in my Fortitude Birds deck list as a backup level 6. It essentially has Pseudo Vortex. It doesn't have Rush, but it has essentially a Pseudo Vortex. You can absolutely build around it. It's really, really good. I think the Achillesmon, if you can get it to work as well, is also pretty useful.
I look forward to Imperial being on the ban list. We went through it. There's a lot of those cards that are surprisingly not super
stuff, like the old stuff.
Please kill Davis and Ken. Please.
The other thing was that like I was like, okay, what if I wanted to play like a more like control green deck? And Ancient Troymon.
Yes, Ancient Troymon is there.
The BT18 one, and it's when it's like when the opponent Digimon suspends, so you basically like you're burning. But then I was like, okay, so this guy's a plant,
bro.
And I was like, wait, Agitar and Sunflower are legal. I could just play like plant bottom end and play Ancient Troymon as like my level 6 with Cherry to effectively have like a go wide like style. It's like Bloom Lord, but you're not actually dealing damage on turn 1. Yeah, it's like Bloom with no payoff, but that sounds awesome.
Dude, you should put the BT7 Ancient Troymon. That card fills me with so much rage when it just suspends things with not block it. It's so annoying.
That card is way too good.
I would like to issue my like edict to the Eden community. When this was shown to me at locals, and then I went home reading the PDF. The first, like, I specifically looked to see if there were any like funny tribal decks that were mostly like commons and uncommons, and the one that I haven't been able to crack or get out of my head is the King Mamemon from BT13.
Oh yeah,
Prince Mamemon from BT13. Is a uncommon that gives all of your Mamemons jamming and reboot. If someone can figure out a consistent is generous, a semi-functional Mamemon pile, I personally, if you find it could be if
it'll be
it's me, I'll keep my own. But if somebody can find it and show it to me, I personally will get you a pre-release copy of Prince Mamemon at your next UK regional of convenience.
Like
if you're around.
Even at a quick search, you have 4 level 5 or lower Mamemons that can be played out with Prince Mamemon's effect. Like, you can absolutely do it. Just make your low end like the classic reboot blocker inheritables, and you're good to go.
Oh my god, Jumbo Gamemon is legal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's what I was looking at. As is the catch Mamemon, so you can de-digivolve stuff too. I was like, whoa.
That's so great.
Dude, Mamemon is like the poster child for why we need Eden format to exist. Because our silly weeks have been like, there'll be someone that has taken as many of the good cards out of Imperial as they can and will still resolve full combo. And then there's someone that shows up with 50 Mamemon cards. So like, I can't wait to see like cards like that, cards that you forget. I think Sukamon is going to be hilarious in this. The Metaletamon that reveals top 4 spam 7s is an uncommon, so that's going to be really funny.
Like a big shout out to Cobb from Glasgow community. I'm sure you guys know who he is.
Big fan.
He's tried to make Etamon work for so long, and like when the SR Etamon came out in EX5, like he was on it, and to be fair, he done fairly well with it, but like it's always been a very sort of rogue deck that struggled against like tier 0, tier 1 sort of decks. So like you can now play Etamon, you can now play other decks that you've always wanted to try out. I just think it's super cool.
We were talking about Etamon outside of Eden, just like with scrambles, how bad can being able to bring back your King Sukamon every turn be with King Etamon? Like, how bad can that actually be?
That's pretty. There's like a couple cruel jokes, like the fact that Rasenmon Fury mode is a
you can't keep making me talk about Rasenmon in front of a public audience, dude. It's not fair.
The fact that is legal.
He'll get a new card one day, guys.
Yeah, we don't actually have like a good target. That's really funny to me.
Fellas, speaking of targets, sometimes when things when we discover when we're talking about targeting, we're thinking about hitting something dead on, right? And if we're being dead on with each other here, I've heard a couple opinions tonight about the Digimon card game that I disagree with.
Memory gauge the room. We're still back.
And I think maybe someone here along the live viewing audience, because of course people are playing along, watching along, Freudian slip, sorry, watching along live on twitch.tv/KnTElixar and youtube.com/KnTElixar, because that's where the podcast gets performed, of course. They might be feeling that they disagree with some of the stuff you guys have said as well. And it leads me to wonder, maybe it's time we, in a new year, memory gauge the room. That segue was actually a minute long, so I apologize. I'm a little rusty, guys.
The first one of the year, don't worry.
Welcome back to Memgauge.
This is not your finest segue, brother, from one of the comments.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's look, we left a talented show host in 2024. This year I'm a deck builder. You heard it here first. If you guys haven't played or are unfamiliar with what the heck is going on, welcome to Memory Gauge the Room, a game show here on Misplay for Game, where we discuss some judgment statements, some value-based judgment statements on the Digimon card game. These three folks here playing along with us, sorry, I always get my left and rights confused on the screen. These folks playing along with us tonight will be sharing opinions based on statements I provide about the Digimon card game as a whole. Statements such as, there are too many Greymons in the Digimon TCG. The catch, though, one of these guys will not be giving you their honest opinion. One of these guys has been planted a little seed of deceit to try and trick you, viewing audience, into not quite believing 100% that they could be telling the truth. So I will be giving them 60 seconds to discuss a prompt that I will present to them as a group. They'll be thinking about it a little bit. And we'll kind of go through, let them all give them their spiel. And then you, the viewing audience, and potentially you, the viewing audience, on youtube.com, if you missed us live, you can check us out next time. You'll be able to try and guess which one of these three folks was not keeping it 100 with you. Fellas, do we all understand the rules? Is this making sense?
Roughly. Roughly.
It's one of those ones that it makes sense as you start kind of playing it. And luckily we always let the guests kind of go last. Usually it's me in the blender to start things off, and then Marcio.
As it will be tonight.
Yep.
Fellas, if you don't mind, as opposed to checking our podcast chat, please check your Discord DMs with me. They'll be going over to you in just a second. I'm going to be sending you one word. This one word will inform whether or not you'll be telling the truth or telling a lie with regards to the statement you'll be responding to. As I've had people ask me about it in the past, we use a random number generator, a little bot that I've got rolling here to pull the prompts out.
Bro, you just sent me my name.
I did. Yep, that was me word searching the Geo. Don't worry. I'm a popular guy. I've got a lot of stuff going on. Hold on, let me just make sure I send you the right thing, actually. Guys, this is a well-performed podcast. There we go. If you guys have all seen your Discord DMs, you'll have your instructions. You'll know which way you're gonna swing for the fences on this one. And gang, the statement that our three competitors will be responding to today is, it is obvious which cards are the main offenders in overperforming decks. So the statement again is, it is obvious what cards are the main offenders in an overperforming deck. I'll give them some time to think about this. As always, memgauge statements are, I would say, left a little intentionally open-ended. I like to see if people will use that to kind of take the ground running, or maybe they kind of lead the discussion in a direction. You've all seen, I'm sure, the clip where Andrew did not answer the prompt and completely changed the course of the game show forever.
And then Jamie proceeded to answer the question even less, but people were still so mad at me that they didn't notice that he didn't answer any questions for the entire game show.
Perfect. Right. Well, I've given you guys a little bit to think it over. I think we'll do it in just vertical order here. We'll go Andrew, Marcio, Adam. We'll get it started. So Andrew, one more time for yourself and for editing, Andrew, down the line. The statement you'll be responding to is, it is obvious which cards are the main offenders in overperforming decks. Andrew, you want to give me a 3, 2, 1 when you're ready?
All right, yeah, I can do a 3, 2. I mean, I have the timer's ready to go.
You got the button. You can go.
So I mean, I'm ready to 3, 2, 1. And yeah, I think it is pretty obvious which cards are the most offensive cards in a lot of these overperforming lists. But sometimes I think people get too focused on there being one card that is the sole problem in a lot of this list, which is why it gets so muddy when people talk about it. But you can look at things like how Anubis is still popping up in a lot of purple flop lists that does a lot of things, and it kind of just wins you the game on the spot. But it's kind of obvious as you get better at the game, where you can see that consistency cards are kind of like the main offenders. And I think that's one of the things that makes it really easy to tell what makes a good bottom end or super consistent bottom end, being like the 2024 trend of problematic cards, rather than a specific card being the one problem. But that said, I think it is really obvious when there is one card that kind of warps the entire format around it, and usually has a wingman that doesn't get talked about nearly enough.
That's your time. That was Andrew, who I reiterate for anyone watching here, could either have been giving his honest opinion or telling a lie with regards to his opinion on the statement, it is obvious what cards are the main offenders in overperforming decks. Marcio, you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, I'll count you in. We're going to go 3, 2, 1, go.
So I think sometimes it's not always obvious which card it is the offender, because I think the best example that we've had most recently is the Merva and Anubis, where people for a long time thought that like Merva was a problematic card, and Merva would let you sort of like like even if you hit Anubis, you could always enable the Merva, but that wasn't always quite the case. So sometimes it isn't quite obvious, and sometimes well, for a long time, ban list wise, we thought that we would just never get SRs hit, and so like when you're looking at cards, it's like, okay, I'm looking at like every possible hit that could happen, but there's no one card that is the immediate like outlier. I think like with Shine Greymon, a lot of people thought that for a long time, like hitting the BT 12 Marcus would be like, oh, the deck dies after that. But that's not entirely true because like Shine had a plethora of other like powerful cards. So I think like the community, when it comes to like card evaluation, can sometimes not always be on the money.
That's your time. Marcio squeaking in by the seat of his pants, answering the statement, responding to the statement. It is obvious what cards are the main offenders in overperforming decks. One more time, just to remind you, Marcio could have either been giving his honest opinion or deceiving you and giving a different stance that he doesn't necessarily agree with. Last but not least, our honorable guest of the night, Mr. Red Scar TCG. Adam, are you ready to go, mate?
No, I'm going to do this wrong, but we'll go with it anyway.
It's fine. It's fine.
All right. Adam, I'll give you a 3, 2, 1, but to remind you, your statement you're responding to is, it is obvious what cards are the main offenders in overperforming decks. Your countdown is 3, 2, 1, go.
I think it is fairly obvious which cards are the main offenders. Most so when you see them used outside of their archetypes. You can see cards like Mirage Galgamon, which has been a deck that has been performing extremely well for a while, and then suddenly it gets used in Galaxy-based decks for absolutely no reason other than I want to pass the turn. That being said, some cards are locked to certain archetypes like Marcus Damon and other cards like that. And whilst those are absolutely overperforming cards, they can't really go outside of their archetypes too much. But some people have tried to sneak other cards into other decks, like we saw Marcus Damon performing in Royal Knights as a quick, cheap memory setter plus removal on the board as well. It's quite, choking on spit, sorry. It's quite clear to me that the cards that are overperforming tend to crop up outside of their archetypes and get used widely across the board as well.
And that's your time. That was Adam responding to the statement.
You did fine.
It is.
Thank you. I'm so nervous.
No, that was perfect. That's all we have to do.
You absolutely nailed it. You guys know what his statement he's responded to. This gets edited anyway. Yeah. So, as always, Memory Gauge is actually kind of played with a hidden fourth player, the live viewing audience here on twitch.tv/KnTElixar, where you can be betting your channel points. If you're not there now, because you're watching live on YouTube, or you're missing the live thing and you're watching it again on YouTube after the fact, catch us live on Twitch next time. But if you're on YouTube now, swap yourself back over, get over to twitch.tv so you can play along. Clicking the follow button gives you 600 mono coins. You can immediately start playing with the gang. Come join us there, because Andrew is going to start a prediction here on Twitch where you guys will be able to contribute some of your wagered mono coins to determine, let's say you think it's Andrew, you think he was completely talking out of his ass. Well, you can put some money behind it. You can say, oh, I'm 100% certain it's Andrew. He was lying. The prediction is now up.
We okay to influence chat?
Yeah.
I mean, we can now start doing the thing because we don't know.
Is insider trading allowed? Am I allowed to bet my channel points on this?
These two have frequently done it in the other games.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Tommy Tricks did it once or twice.
I have seen Tom like in Lethal or Living go, there's absolutely no way that this kills, and I'll see 30,000 channel points go on, it kills. And it's like, okay.
I'm a heel, Andrew. I'm an entertainment product.
I know for a fact that it's Andrew because he's the type of guy that'll be like to go, guys, EX5 Anubis isn't that problematic, okay? And it's like, well, you're only saying that because you're playing it in the bad version of the deck. You just want it for nefarious purposes.
Oh, no, what if it's me? I could be telling I could be lying. You can absolutely but vote for me as well. Spend your points on me. I deserve it.
I never lie, guys.
The house
is a man with
wins.
skin in the game and money in the bank, by the way, chat.
I just stand by the fact that, like, as a community, we're still sometimes, like, not there in terms of, like, card evaluation. Sometimes, like, as a community, we let a couple things, like, slip, and then, like, sometimes it does make like a big difference. I think like a good example is like Numemon. We all wanted things like the Monzaimon's hit or like the promo or the Monzaimon X antibody. The RB1 and the X antibody. We thought that those would be the cards that like would kill Numemon, but in reality it was the the X antibody Numemon because it's like shot the deck's like ability
Beelzemon
to, like,
was
flow.
another good one. EX2 Imp being the one that we all thought was just objectively like it was a good hit, but it probably wasn't the correct hit.
I do think this is what we've talked about this on the show. The thing that we get as a community when we go, that card's clearly broken, is we don't know what the next 3 sets of design cards look like because they've been working on them for 6 months. So when something gets hit, or rather doesn't, my long-held suspicion is that they really did think we'd use those yellow puppet Monzemons in the Orisa puppet deck. I really think they wanted us to do that, and that's why they didn't hit the Monzemon. But like, there are permutations to how cards get picked out and looked at that we aren't privy to because well, 3 of us here aren't actively card game designing.
All right,
Andrew, have the predictions come
I'm more card game sorting, if anything.
Righty, so we do have our first Memgage predictions of the year, where we have the first one is 48% of the vote think that yours truly was capping. 51% of the vote think that it was Marcio, the contrarian, who was capping. And just a humble 10 channel points looking to make it big, think that Adam was telling some porkies in the
I didn't vote
first
for
round.
myself, I promise.
Well, I suppose by that metric, it seems like the chat thinks it's Marcio. Marcio, were you yapping or were you capping?
God damn, I tried so hard to like get Andrew to look like a sussy Among Us imposter, but it's like, well, I've been talking on this show for like a year, so people know like my stances on like ban lists. It's like, well, yeah, of course, it's like some cards are like really obvious. Like with Mirage, I was thinking about like initiating the talking, but we're like, oh, you know, with Mirage, sometimes it could be like, oh, maybe Mirage is actually fine, and it's the cards that like fill up your hand. But I was like, nah, they'll just like give it away. BT11 Mirage is the problem. It's really hard to sell like not know. Well, I'm not always correct in terms of like knowing what cards are the correct ones to hit. Like I think
clip that on Twitch chat.
Yeah, I know. What's like a recent deck that I'm still kind of like, I don't really know how to go about this.
You have expressed multiple thoughts on Imperial Dramon and like the different cards you think are stupid.
Do you hit the BT12 boys? Or...
Okay,
Imperial is your
perfect example. It's like, okay, are we hitting the Daikin? Are we hitting the 12 pieces? Well, what do we actually leave them with? Like, what acceptable level are we meant to leave Imperial at? And I think like those are some of the decks that like blur the line a bit. But a lot of the times there's like a clear like, you are the problem.
I absolutely agree, but of course I'm not giving my opinions out here. We save those for like bonus content or something.
So for clarification,
I'm gonna go ahead and...
it was Marcio that was capping. So
yeah,
51% of the vote were correct.
Fellas,
I almost had people believing it was Andrew.
I mostly voted for Andrew because I thought you were lying too well to. I thought it was just bumbling, so I was like, Andrew's going to be the liar here.
I do a fantastic job of being incredibly morally ambiguous.
A man who can be bought, opinions and all.
Me, who owns the casino.
Fellas, if you once again will check your Discord DMs with myself, you'll see your instructions for the second prompt here on Memory Gauge the Room. We're only going to go for 3 here tonight, folks, because we got a tight schedule. There's a lot of cool news for the new year. Let me go ahead and roll. I forgot to roll the picker for the prompt. Pardon me. This is a professional production, by the way.
Don't worry, Memgage still runs infinitely smoother than Lethal or Living does. Which, as a reminder, if you want to submit prompts for Memgage the Room, you can type in !M4G takes in the Twitch chat, and it will give you the link to submit the Google form. There's a whole thing, just fill it out, and we'll try and get some of these added to the pool. And if you want to add clips to Lethal or Living, it's !M4G clips, and it gives you all the instructions on how to submit clips for Lethal or Living, so that when we do our other game shows, we can try and do them more often than we did last year. And it also means that people have an excuse to really send some channel points, because when there's 3 of us lying, sometimes all these channel points disappear into the ether. When it's Lethal or Living, you are actively taking channel points from another person. You can look them cold dead in the eyes as a security check takes 50,000 channel points from someone else.
Speaking of security checks taking it from you, I swear to God, I pull straws on the prompts, guys. And the prompt you guys will be responding to today is a doozy. The judgment for round 2 of Memory Gauge of the Room, is games full of bricks are more enjoyable than games full of sacks. That statement one more time is games full of bricks are more enjoyable than games full of sacks. I'll give these guys a couple minutes to work this out. We found historically the shorter the statement, the more squirrely it gets to try and lie about it, or sometimes even tell the truth about something for 60 seconds can be quite arduous when it is something like, yeah, I love when my opponent has nothing going on. But that's how it goes here on MemGauge. The cold, unthinking ones and zeros of my PC have decided the fate of these 3 players. Gentlemen, we'll be going in the same order once again. Andrew, are you ready to go on the statement games full of bricks are more enjoyable than games full of sacks?
Yep.
Awesome. I'll give you a countdown. It's 3, 2, 1, go.
I absolutely love messy Digimon me. I prey on the misfortune of those that are on table 1 under my camera lens, and I absolutely love it when both players brick. When both players brick, you get to see the messiest, ugliest, cursed Digimon of all time, where you're watching lines that have never before been seen to try and make like a mountain out of a molehill. Some of my favorite moments in reported Digimon history are watching Harry slam Alphamon for 13 and somehow win a game. And I think when you don't just have the full line, especially on some of these less interactive decks that have been, you know, rookie training, training boost, boost training, when they have to come out and play Digimon like God intended, some of the greatest games you'll ever see. Sacks are really funny, especially when it's final check security. But for the general, like, you know, 30 minutes of enjoyment, I love a brick fest.
That's your time. And that was Andrew responding to the statement, games full of bricks are more enjoyable than games full of sacks. A lot to unpack there, but don't sit on it for too long, because up next we've got Marcio. Marcio, you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
So I prefer games full of sacking because I would say that I'm a pretty good player. So it is very, very, very rare that I get sacked because like I usually account for like what my opponent is playing. So like I'm always playing around like mitigating like getting sacked in security by like whatever, because like if you can picture a deck list, you can account for anything that could be in the security, so you know like when a thing's gonna happen. And like it means that if both players are sacking, it's extra good for me because like if say for example my opponent swings into me and gives me like a random memory boost or a training that I didn't deserve, there's this like feeling, it's like I just had some like fresh cocaine like snorted up my nose, and it's like, oh, I'm going to do like unforgivable things like you should not have swung, and it's the best feeling in the world. So for me, it's because like I prefer games where both players sack, because like I play around my opponent's security, but then I get all the benefits from my opponent like hitting my security.
That's your time. That was Marcio responding to the statement, games full of bricks are more enjoyable than games full of sacks. Last but not least, Adam, are you ready to go, mate?
Yes, let's go.
All right. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
So sometimes when both players sack their game, it can lead to some of the funniest, most absolutely enjoyable games of Digimon that you'll ever have. When you sack your opponent or they sack you, you can get salty, you can get sweaty, it's often too competitive and you want to leave and go home. But when both players are having a horrible time and you play an ace and they play an ace to counter you, but also it removes their ace at the exact same time, so nothing happens, and you do that for 3 turns in a row because rookies live at the bottom of your deck, and then you just start going, screw it, I'm playing my level 6 from my hand, and they go, screw it, I'll do the same. Nothing really changes, and then you start eventually you draw your consistency pieces, but you are laughing, you're having a fun, enjoyable time together. You are losing, and then one of you eventually wins, but you are losing together, and it is an absolutely wonderful feeling. Nothing is better than sacking and not drawing the cards that you need.
And that was Adam responding to the statement, games full of bricks are more enjoyable than games full of sacks. But MemGauge comes with its fourth player, and now it's time for you, the viewing audience, to contribute your opinion. Three folks discussing making the best of a bad situation here tonight. If you have any predictions on a bad situation where one of these competitors is lying to you, let's see if you can make the best of spending your channel points and figure out who it was. You are losing and then someone eventually wins is the MemGauge quote of all time. It's a Hall of Famer, only as good as my favorite color in Digimon, orange. Oh yeah, we are. This is terrible. I'd love to give you this while the chat contributes their votes. The actual Hall of Famer, all time, truly.
Wait,
like,
we need to instigate.
We need to instigate. I'll let you instigate. We'll do the history lesson later. Who wants to who's Jacques, the other players here?
It's really funny when you can't always tell who's lying when sometimes there's the really obvious red herring where it's like, well, someone said the different thing to the other two people, so they might be lying, but then sometimes people are just saying it with their whole chest, just like, no, I actually disagree with everyone in the room. Or, because of someone lying, it is just like the one person who's like, oh yeah, they agreed with me. They might be telling the truth. They're just capping the whole time. I love this game because it's just like you can say anything with your whole chest.
Yeah, it doesn't help that my roommate is someone that knows me play and watches me play Digimon and knows exactly what I like and what I don't. So that's definitely fun.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. I think that Adam might actually be the one lying this time, just because he's a judge, right? He doesn't have to be second to last round. It's like this one will mean that if you can at least have a good run, and then your hand is just complete doo-doo, but the opponent opens a playable hand and it doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna go home because your deck just shit the bed. That is the worst feeling ever. Whereas both plays breaking is it's goofy, but it's are we really playing Digimon? It just comes down to who's better at playing dinosaur Digimon. When can you recognize that you need to do something and you pressing the gas button is okay, if we're both doing nothing, then I'll win by doing nothing quicker.
It is really funny to see all these different things. Because I as well, I am just an active detriment to this game because there's Andrew the commentator and Andrew the player who do actually have conflicting opinions. So I'm just tapping into whichever one is mandated by the Discord.
Yeah.
With that said, though, we do actually have our results on this one, and we've kind of returned to what is an expected norm. By round 2, everyone thinks I'm full of shit. 79% of the vote is on me, as it usually is. There's 1.1k channel points bet on this one, and then we've got 260 on Marcio, and then a humble 3% of the vote thinks that Adam was lying.
Nobody wants to hurt my feelings. It's okay.
You need to have more extreme.
Well.
You need to have more extreme opinions, or have the most what is it called? Lukewarm opinions ever. Right? If you want to win a MemGauge, that's how you do it.
Yeah, you do actually have to commit to saying some of the most outlandish statements.
If you want people to vote for you, you just have to say something that only your roommate knows that you're lying.
We saw Harry get patch notes during his episode. It's I could tell he was lying because he only gets excited about things he's telling the truth about, and he just deadpanned the rest of the episode. Yeah, guys, I don't think there should be more Greymons in the Digimon card game.
That was me.
Yeah, it was funny. But in terms of the things, once again, I have successfully done horrendous damage to the economy. The house always wins. I was told to tell the truth. I love watching people play dog shit Digimon where nobody has a line and you just have to make do with what you've got. I've also been playing a deck that loses hard to do Digivolve in the last couple of weeks, and hitting DCD bomb and losing instantly because my level 7 turns into a level 5 makes me want to strangle someone.
You should have wanted it more. Will the liar make themselves available, please?
I love lying. Lying is actually my favorite thing to do. I'm not gonna lie. So here's the thing. I was I love when both plays break, because when both plays break, I'm me you, and I played just like you. I've been playing Digimon since release, so I know if nothing is happening, I know how to create a winning game state. And this was actually this was sort of relevant in BT16 when Numemon was rampant, and I was playing Tyrant because sometimes you just had hands that didn't do much. but you still had like enough proactive plays that like Nume couldn't punish you. So there's like footage of me like slamming fives and winning the game because like I was missing like a thing or two. So when it's like messy Digimon, I'm insane at messy Digimon. But like when I swing at my opponent's the thing that I omitted was that like getting sacked is not always in security. A lot of times getting sacked is like the unsearchables that are in their hand. As a green player, I love when I open
Don't
HPD.
need 2 HPDs low.
Yeah, I love like when I open HPD and my opponent has not seen it, they can't track it, and it's just like they pass me one memory and you think it's enough, and I'm like, oh, I drew the one of like, sorry, buddy, like this is my game to win. Okay.
The games where Emily, it's just like that. Okay, I've choked her to 2. Surely there's no way I die from this position, and it's like the, oh yeah, no, unfortunate boost awakening. Shake my hand. I'm just like, okay, couldn't have played around that. My bad.
Also, I hate getting sacked in the sense that, like, yes, I can track your options, but there's sometimes, like, if I'm playing, like, armor, right? And it's like, well, I have to go for a game eventually. And whether I like it or not, I'm going to have to give you, like, advantage. That just feels like it's the worst thing ever. Like, you're playing against, like, Luga, you swing for your one check with your armor guy, and it's like training, and all of a sudden they get to make a full board, and you're just like, you know what? That was actually really cool. I love when I swing into protoform into my opponent's security.
When my 1k
awesome.
DP rookie makes it back to me because it hit Daiken first check.
Yeah. So lying is really cool. I love lying, actually.
Alrighty, fellas. The best things in life come in threes. The best jokes, the best bits, the best company. And statistically speaking, that means I'm overstaying my welcome. So we may as well wrap this one up. Our final prompt tonight comes... Once again, I'll be sending our players their instructions for the third and final prompt for Mem Gauge the Room this evening. Sorry, Memory Gauge the Room. Don't flame me again. I actually got somebody telling me that at Utrecht that made me laugh, and I was like, look, I'm sorry, but they're in the title.
It's there. You have to go memory.
It's Spider-Man has a hyphen in his name. Respect the hyphen. So all of you have received your instructions. Go ahead and check your DMs. Thank you very much. The statement that these 3 players will be responding to is all cards in the Digimon TCG are designed to promote the most fun a game can produce. That statement once again is all cards in the Digimon TCG are designed to promote the most fun a game can produce. All right, one more time because I stuttered. All cards in the Digimon TCG are designed to promote the most fun a game can produce. I'll just make sure I'm all clear on info and make sure I have my notes correctly. So all of you have to give your honest statements, your honest opinions on this statement, rather. You do not have to agree with this. You don't have to disagree with this. It just has to be your honest opinion. And the way this works, the chat will be working out who the sneaky sleuth underneath it all is. Giving you guys some time to think about this. Chat, you can think about it a little bit too. Some of you will have seen Adam around, Mr. Red Scar TCG himself, a stalwart bastion of the Digimon community across Europe.
Trying.
Andrew and Marcio also are here.
I'm here. I'm chilling.
But we'll go ahead and get this one going as we do, starting with Andrew. So Andrew, you will be starting and responding to the statement, all cards in the Digimon TCG are designed to promote the most fun a game can produce. Are you ready?
All right.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Now, in Pokemon, they say that, everyone out there is someone's favorite, like, some Pokemon is someone out there's favorite Pokemon. And, I'm not going to try and yuck anybody's yum. You might think that spend 7 recovery +1 is cool. You are objectively wrong. Some of these cards were not designed with fun in mind. Kohei Murata stubbed his toe on the way out of bed and went, you know what, fuck these players. I want them to have a miserable time. And they just put some dog shit in this card game. Sometimes they're like, oh, we've got such a concrete idea. And like, isn't this guy kind of a dick in the show? I'm like, word. Load him up with keywords that we hate. Mechanorimon was not designed for a player to have fun. It was you go to locals for the first time, you've got your complex game plan, and 17 rookies hit you in security and you die. And you went, that wasn't fun. And you come back, hood up, ready to ruin one player's day. And you go, yeah, you, 4 Mechanoris. Any response? Not all of these cards are made with fun in mind. They're there to do diabolical things to your friend.
That's your time. That was Andrew responding to the statement, all cards in the Digimon TCG are designed to promote the most fun a game can produce. Marcio, you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
So I think that all cards are designed to be as fun as they possibly can. The problem is I will yuck people's yums, and your idea of fun is different to my idea of fun, even though what you think is fun is cringe. That's okay, because at the end of the day, like, Bandai's a company that needs to make money, and for them to make money, they need to print cards that are inherently fun. But that means that some people's fun is just different. I don't get why Terry finds, so much fun DP minusing a whole board by 30k, but that's his thing. But also, I understand that people don't understand that my idea of fun is to suspend and pierce with my guy that is bigger than your guy. We're all a little bit freaky when it comes to the Digimon card game, but I genuinely do think that there is a lot of thought put into the card design, and that they're designed to be fun and flavorful.
That's your time. That was Marcio responding to the statement, all cards in the Digimon TCG are designed to promote the most fun a game can produce. Last but not least, Adam, you ready to go?
Of course.
All right, your timer starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm not here to convince you of anything, folks. I'm here to just spread public awareness of certain decks and cards that whole inherently disagree with this statement. Mirage Galgamon, Full Power Apocalypse, the card Ice Wall, Metal Garurumon, Alphamon Oryukin, Lilithmon Loop, the entire concept of Blue Hybrid, Shine Greymon at full power, Royal Knights at full power in the upcoming sets as well. The fact that Millenniummon as a card went unchecked for an entire 2 formats when it could just come back for free multiple times. Oh, and what was the last one? Oh yeah, Hunters. That's all I need to say, really.
That was Adam succinctly using 60 seconds to remind you of the history we've all committed to together.
He said, here's the ops, okay? These are the people that you need to go after.
It's like, first it was like he was reading an indictment list. It was like all of these on RICO charges, and then it was just like, no, actually, I hate you and your mama.
If they ever write a Geneva Convention for Digimon, I am putting them up for trial.
It's like when Biden locked in for the final speech. He was like, I am now going to be so serious, my dear Americans. If you like BT11 Mirage Galgamon, Apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly.
That was so good. That was like just like K-Dot vibes. Is like, I'm dissing everybody. I hate everyone in these streets.
That's great.
Of course, despite a hit list being released out to the public, we do still need to wrap up our game of memory gauges the room. And, there's been a lot of discussion here about, not yucking the yum. Fun is relative to everybody. Apocalypse is a sanctioned war criminal and will see jail cells for his crimes. But I would love to hear from you, the live viewing audience here on Misplay for Game, what you think it was going on. And to remind you, if you're seeing this on YouTube after the fact, and it's not January the 18th, 2025, remember you can catch us live on twitch.tv/KnTElixar and youtube.com/KnTElixar. The podcast goes up Saturdays. We're working on it, guys. It's the new year, new us. But yeah. Catch us live, and we remind you as well, if you make your way over to twitch.tv/KnTElixar, you can play along as well, spending your hard-earned channel points to contribute to the voting for this game.
Yeah. Please do join the Discord. I'm going to try and make it so the live alerts, you'll know when there's, because we transparently don't have the means to be able to do a game show every single thing. It got very clunky when we were trying to do that. So I am going to try and make it very obvious in the go live thing, or when we've started doing it so you can actually see this week's guest in the Discord up to a week early, because we're going to try and book them in with a little bit more notice. So you will also know if there's going to be a game show, so that way you can hopefully show up and get to play live, because playing these things live, especially when they are a spectacle, are really fun.
Speaking of fun, because as we've discussed, fun is what you make it. Andrew, the people have spoken, and do they agree with you guys on the subject of fun?
Okay, well, Harry said all in. I've just checked where the votes have gone. And in a rare turn of events, 0 on me.
Oh,
we
I
have.
think that might be the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, 0%. Okay, there's 20. There's 20 channel points. Someone's trying to hit it big. 20 channel points on me. We've got 17% of the vote on Adam. A whole K of mono coins dedicated to think he is a liar, and 82% of the vote spread across 2 people, of which one of them is basically just Harry, thinks that this man is going for the 3-peat on Cap'n.
I'm so good at giving my teammates the alley-oop because I took the bullet for this one.
Yeah, this one was impossible.
I was like, this one is impossible. I'm going to make sure that whoever's lying will get away with it. So I took it upon myself to give you the alley-oop. So please present yourself.
I'm so excited to tell you, gentlemen, that after a year of Memory Gauge the Room, the 4th option has arrived. You guys thought you understood that the house always won. You guys thought you got the rules to Memory Gauge the Room. But actually, there's been a secret hidden Tom has a little radioactive button he slams on the desk the whole time. All 3 of these men shared their explicit, honest opinions.
Which is crazy because
to Memory Blocker.
It's crazy.
Memory Gauge the Room, guys.
Marcio was trying to do the alley-oop.
Points back, Andrew.
I was also trying to give the alley-oop.
We're stealing them from the casino.
All right, we will return all of the coins, but yes, you will not get any.
I am your Roman emperor today, chat. The money stays with you. The casino does not win today. Fellas, that was our firm opinion. And can I be honest with you? I so wholeheartedly agree. I can't believe they got away with printing black for all of 2020. There's nothing in that color that's fun in 2020.
It is
kudos
so
to
good.
Digimon.
Because, I think all 3 of us understood that this question was impossible to lie. So we all went with the, I'm going to help a liar out. Because, I start talking up about SecCon, Derek exists. Some people might find that really fun. Marcio, some people might find that really fun. Just we got to help the liar out because there's no way they get away with this. And it's 4D chess. Well played, Tom. Well played, Tom.
I've been running this game show for a year. The random stroll pick, the reason I don't just, roll a D6 or whatever anymore is because in April last year, I realized that if I ran it as a D12 and put 10 options on equal choices for player, a D20 and put equal options on you guys and a sliver on a nuclear option, it would be the funniest joke in the world in a couple months. And here we are. Happy New Year, everybody.
I'm happy to have experienced that with you all.
I love that for you guys. Thank you very much.
What's crazy is that I wasn't actually lying. I genuinely believe that
you better not have been lying. That was the point
exactly.
of the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People think that I was lying, and it's he's definitely lying. He probably hates something. I do hate that, some cards are over 2, obviously, because I have certain playstyles. But I genuinely believe that they print every deck with the intent of somebody's going to play this. Otherwise, we would be playing Adventure Kids TCG all the time. They didn't print
what do you mean would? That's what I do every week.
They didn't print the hybrid stuff if they didn't know that somewhere deep down in I don't know, Radcliffe, there's some guy who's I really like Kumamon. Kumamon is really cool. He was my favorite. Did you guys watch Frontier? Frontier's really cool because it's different. Actually, that's me. I like Frontier because it's different. So for me, it's that's awesome. They caters to the things that I like. So bugs get a lot of love and the hybrids get too much love and whatever. But niche what's a niche Digimon? Tobu Catmon, that's one of the guys,
Tobu
right?
Catmon has 1 card.
It was
Tobu
Anubis.
Catmon.
It was Anubis before EX5. And he was that guy. He was cool.
Yeah.
Do you know Vmon has 12 cards now?
I don't think they printed enough Wargrey and Metal Garurumon cards, to be honest. There's hardly any of them.
Yeah, I actually think we need more Greymon. Nobody ever. Thank you for being on the show, Adam. Nobody ever asks me, but there aren't enough Greymons, and I want more.
No, but I'm being so serious right now. Somebody's favorite Digimon is unironically, what's like a great example here? Gigimon, right? Like somebody's like, I remember when I was like a small child and I played Digimon, is it World on my PS1, and Gigimon was so cool. And they printed a Digimon card.
Footmon.
Oh, love Footmon. Footmon and Justimon OTK. What a week that was, Marcio.
No, but like, okay, I'm okay. Yellow has like the most like niche. Like
there are some real glup shitomons in Yellow. I agree with you.
It's like it's for the people that spend all their day on like the Digimon wiki and like following the charts for the Digivice and stuff.
Oh yeah, they're finally printing Ponkusmon. Everybody, let's go! And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly. Exactly.
Me. I've got my V-Pet right here.
Like, okay, Yellow is like they have enough like popular guys, but like Marine Angemon, right? Somebody's favorite Digimon is Marine Angemon because they really like Tamers as a TV show, and they're so upset that there isn't a full Marine Angemon deck. But Digimon is not
as a TV show. You're wrong.
Yeah,
save it for MMGage, Bucko, or we're gonna have words.
Okay.
Don't talk. You're allowed to talk, but don't talk too much. But like
the streets know around here.
So you know how like Digimon, there's a bunch of groups. You have like the Demon Lords, and you have the Deep Savers, and you have the Great Angels, and you have the the
2024.
The Banchos or whatever, right? Like these groups of guys. Somebody's like favorite things like, oh yeah, I love the Davis. I don't know where the Davis come from and the Sovereign. I generally don't know, but some people's like, I'm
so happy. You ever heard of this country called China?
Yeah, I was gonna say that one's kind of a sitter actually. Welcome to the snake year.
Oh yeah.
Thank you all for playing Memory Gauge the Room. We're coming up on our allotted 2 hours recording time, so I would like to give everybody an ample time to kind of go over anything else we talk about. We'll go over some more of the 2025 news and goings on next time we're on. But I want to say a special thank you to Mr. Red Scar TCG himself, Adam, for being on. Adam's, and like, you know, we've said it a little bit here, but like truly a pillar of a community. We are all better off for the hours and hours of work and time and nights without sleep that he's put into the game. Paid and unpaid, the man does it all for us. So we're all lucky to have him. Next time you see him at an event, check he doesn't need a bottle of water or something.
Always in a bottle of water. Thank you. I really appreciate the kind words. All I want is for the Digimon community to thrive, and to just keep playing the game that everyone loves. That's all I'm here for, really. And in my position with organized play events, I'm going to do the best I can to make sure that we continue to deliver quality events as often as we can, as many different places as we can as well.
Is there anything else you'd like to plug? Anything personally for you as the YouTube channel, Red Scar TCG?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Twitter at Red Scar TCG. That's spelled REDSKARR TCG. I'm also on YouTube, but most importantly, it's mostly the Eden format at the moment. I'll post in the Discord, the Twitch chat, and the YouTube chat as well. If you want to join us, talk about some common, uncommon action. Or we're chatting in there, sharing deck lists, getting some games on the go. We've seen quite a bit of interest. I think we're at 50 members, which for a couple of days is actually pretty cool. So I might see if we can organize a little free-to-play tournament coming up in the next month or so, just to see if we can properly start getting a competitive scene going for it as well. But yeah, thank you for having me as well.
Make sure to put the link in the Misplay for a Game Discord server where people can find easy access to Eden. We can probably have like a shareable link.
Yeah, we've got it in the general.
It's in general,
somewhere.
But I think we can like also have like our friends at the show thing, so that can get done too. Because gotta make sure people know, because you know that's coming for us. Let's Misplay crew, let's wrap up some of our stuff. Thank you very much for everybody who supported the podcast all throughout 2024. It was a pleasure. Like Andrew mentioned at the top of the show, we have since launched the Misplay for Game Discord server, like Marcy said. So with that comes the implication that we hit 3,000 channel subscribers on the YouTube channel. Thanks so much for what you do. Whether or not you just come and watch the commentaries Andrew does on the regular recorded gameplay, or you are an absolute Lethal Living fan, we know you're out there. There's literally dozens of us. We appreciate the heck out of you all. Go ahead and follow us on all the platforms. We are basically always Elixar, KBeeDS, and the TommyNT. Although I'm a little weird, sometimes it's just TommyNT, but you'll find me. It's the same photo and everything.
I'm pressing all the wrong buttons.
He's got the buttons. Want to say a special thank you to everyone who's come into the Discord so far. It's been a real pleasure. This is going to be, we talk about it all the time. Andrew's sort of joking that we haven't changed everything yet, but changes are coming. They are a brewing. So we appreciate everyone who's been here for, if this is your first episode, or if you've caught, every single Saturday night that we don't really advertise far enough ahead. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything else I'm missing?
We do need to quickly go over the Orange history lesson because we did skip it.
Right,
but then
right.
after that,
well, it's important. We'll do Orange. Famously, Adam, when we last ran, or sorry, I think it was the second time we ran Engage the Room, we had Dark Sphere representing London's Dark Sphere Gaming.
Yeah.
Mr. Mini Kill himself, who not only won every single round going entirely undetected, he also rolled the dice and was picked to be the liar every single time, and produced the worst lies I've ever seen about the Digimon TCG.
Good.
Some truly earth-shattering stuff, like that he knew that the best deck of the next format would be yellow, blue, green, orange, purple. And so orange, the Digimon TCG color, has maintained infamy in the annals of history here on Engage the Room. But you put on a pretty good show for somebody who's new to the game. So thanks again for coming on.
I'm not gonna lie, I was panicking through the first one, going, how do I say
it? It is a very hard one. Luckily, you didn't get it's really hard to start with, but it's really hard to start with, and then you have to lie as the first one. It's miserable. Like Lethal Living's a little bit easier to onboard, but yeah, you did a great job. It's always fun to see how people kind of approach it, especially by round 2 and round 3, where they figure out this game show exists to print TikToks. And then people understand the format. But yeah, it was great.
You'll hopefully get a good one out of mine.
Yeah.
Oh, certainly.
What's the app that people are going over to now? Red Note. We have to start Misplay for Game on Red Note.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, maybe we'll use it Instagram as well or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Check the YouTube Shorts too. We haven't done those in a minute.
Yeah, we got a lot of projects coming up. If you haven't joined the Discord already, please join the Discord.
Oh my God. Sorry, if you've enjoyed watching here live on the internet on twitch.tv/KnTElixar, consider being a subscriber. Subscriptions are free using Amazon Prime. You get them as part of Twitch Prime, and Amazon owns this platform if you didn't know. The world is a giant corporate ball. You can subscribe for one channel once a month for free. Supports Andrew, helps produce the content we produce here on Misplay for Game. Also consider subscribing as a channel member over on youtube.com/KnTElixar. There's multiple tiers. They go up from as little as I think it's £1 to up to, well, there's a hidden tier that we don't advertise, but you can pay all the money on here, then you can pay all the money on YouTube, and you get to be a special superstar. But as it was demonstrated there by Adam, consider subscribing to the Twitch channel. It does help us produce the stuff we make.
We don't get to shout it out normally during the podcast, but it does turn the overlay a different color. We do have a very interactive overlay that if you do that, we'll see it. There's a whole rainbow of colors. You have to figure out what the hidden texts are to do all of them.
You can also make sure you check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'd appreciate the heck out of that. I have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure our Spotify and podcast integration as a whole has been going well. You'll be hearing about that soon. But like we mentioned, all that support goes a long way. There will be, I feel like this is the first time in 2025 that any of us have mentioned this, there will be a Misplay for Game live event in 2025 as there was in 2024. Work is underway. We're trying to get it all going. We're kind of three bozos. So when it comes to money and event planning, we do not have the chops that you'd come to expect from some of the other folks in the scene, but we'll get you there, we promise. Consider supporting however you can. We appreciate the heck out of you. I think that's everything. It's been a while. New year, new me. Can't remember how to plug. Yeah, we'll take you, James. We'd have brought you out no matter what, fella.
Yeah, we're gonna do what we can, and we will be recording some bonus content. Maybe Marcio stick around for it. It is a Saturday night, so he doesn't have anywhere to be tomorrow. So we'll get some bonus content done. That'll be coming out in a month for the free audience, and if you're a champion tier or higher on YouTube, then you will get access to that pretty much tonight if I can get it edited tonight. Otherwise, it'll be coming out tomorrow. I'm trying to flesh out more benefits for things like our ultimates. The new project is going to be locked behind that for a week, but yeah, we'll be recording some bonus content. We will be figuring out what that bonus content is. Sometimes it's really informative.
I have a little list.
Yeah, sometimes it's really informative, hard-hitting journalism. And sometimes tierlistmaker.com has us in a vice. So you'll find out what it is when in a month or in 24 hours. But thanks for joining us again, Adam. It was a blast to have you on for the first podcast of the year. And hopefully we'll be able to keep people in slightly more the loop, have you on again, just in general, and have a rotating cast of guests this year.
Sounds cool.
Andrew, let me say that word. I'm bursting at the seams, buddy. It's a new year. I gotta. I've been sitting on it since Christmas Eve.
The thing that has the most staying power out of the entire podcast.
Yep. Ooh, here we go. Mercy warming up. Baba Booey.
Baba Booey.
Baba Booey. Baba Booey. Happy New Year.